Zendikar, Magic's last set alphabetically, but certainly not least. Zendikar was Magic's golden, that is 50th set, featuring an all-new theme and some of the most iconic cards to ever be printed, and it almost didn't happen. Zendikar began with Mark Rosewater's idea of a land set. Initially, his bosses were skeptical. Bill Rose, vice president of Wizards of the Coast R&D, put a time limit on Marrow. If he didn't show good progress in a few months, the land set would go bye-bye and Wizards would find another direction. Internally, Marrow rebranded the set as Landsapalooza to get more people excited about it. Before trying the mechanic that became Landfall, Wizards tested cards that would have consumed the turn's land drop as an alternate casting cost. Landfall turned the idea of a top deck on its head. Instead of wanting to draw spells, R&D testers wanted to draw lands. That was the winner moment. Landfall wasn't the only land-oriented side of Zendikar. Rare lands like Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, and Emeria, the Sky Ruin, turned lands into spell-like effects. Common lands like Teetering Peaks and Kabira Crossroads entered the battlefield tapped but provided spell-like effects. The enemy fetch land cycle, like Misty Rainforest and Scalding Tarn, complemented the Onslaught fetch lands and are now the 5 most expensive cards in the set. Full art land cards like those in Unglued and Unhinged were a further treat, and years later rose in prices to meet those counterparts. So land mattered, mechanically. What world would that fit in? Why would land matter creatively? Well, the Wizards creative team came up with the Adventure World theme of Zendikar, where there were deadly perils guarding priceless treasures, and teams of adventurers would go searching for them. Zendikar the Plane was originally hinted at in the novel The Purifying Fire, a book that focuses on Chandra and a mysterious planeswalker, also known as Jace Beleren. Jace retrieved a stolen scroll from Chandra, erased her mind regarding it, and promptly vanished to another plane, the plane of Zendikar. Design took the Adventure World theme and filled it out with a trio Marrow called Maps, Chaps, and Traps. The maps originally were artifacts, but later became the quest enchantments, such as Quest for the Holy Relic, Quest for Ancient Secrets, and the Ascension enchantments, such as Pyromancer Ascension and Luminarch Ascension. Traps kept their name, but went through a variety of design changes. Eventually, they turned into punishing cards like the Mindbreak Trap, a key sideboard weapon against Storm decks. Other traps that saw play included Ravenous Traps against Dredge decks and graveyard-based strategies, and Summoning Traps saw a lot of play in Primeval Titan, Valakut the Molten Pinnacle-based decks as an answer to decks with lots of counterspells. Chaps turned into the Ally mechanic. Though they did most of their work in Limited, Allies were a key part of sealed and draft play, especially strong rares such as Turntimber Ranger. Internally, the Allies were labeled with Borrowed Dungeons & Dragons classes depending on their effects, including Fighter, Wizard, and Cleric. One of the last mechanical parts added to Zendikar was Kicker, a worthy choice for a set that encouraged playing land and lots of it. Outside of its fetch lands, the most expensive card from Zendikar is Iona, Shield of Emeria, which can lock out a color of opposing decks in Eternal formats. Also popular are Bloodghast, Goblin Guide, and Lotus Cobra. Goblin Guide is especially unique as there has never before or since been a 2-power red creature with haste with virtually no drawback for 1 mana. You could describe Goblin Guide's drawback as such, but the 3 Goblin Guide draw was godlike during its reign in Standard and continued to see play for years and years. Lotus Cobra was renowned for its ability to generate mana, and was seen as a hoax when it was first unofficially spoiled, as no one could believe Lotus Cobra would see print in a set that had fetch lands. Uncommon card Vampire Hex Mage combined with Cold Snap's Dark Depths to create their own unique archetype. Hex Mage depths needed both in play to immediately create a Merit Lage token and quickly kill your opponent with the monster. A notable common card was Spreading Seas, one dismissed by everyone until Jerry Thompson decided to play it as a way of hosing the Jund Menace and Shards of Alara Zendikar block standard. In combination with the strictly worse Convincing Mirage, he named his deck infamously enough, Spreado. To go with the marketing campaign Deadly Perils, Priceless Treasures on September 24, 2009, a picture showed up featuring a Zendikar pack with a candelabra of Tawnos inside it. Speculation went wild as many claimed it was fake. As it turns out, it was true, and a myriad of rare and vintage legal cards found their way into random booster packs of the first printing of Zendikar. With an average of one priceless treasure for every 20 boxes, this included all of the Power 9 cards, all 10 dual lands, and much more. Other treasures featured Time Vault, the Abyss, and the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. Because these cards already existed and were not new printings, they did not violate Wizards' reprint policy. From the mothership, a single email curtly stated their existence, and a tournament rules update clarified that players may keep the extra cards during drafts. However, the mystery remains that no one else at Wizards has ever publicly acknowledged before or since that Wizards of the Coast was behind this promotion. The employee who sent the email left the company shortly thereafter. Planeswalker Cards for Zendikar began with a new form of Chandra, in Chandra Ablaze, who famously tanked in both reception and standard play power. Arguably one of the worst, if not the worst, Planeswalkers ever printed. It featured two all-new Planeswalkers, the ancient vampire Sorin Markov at a whopping 6 mana, and the elf leader Nissa Ravane, who featured her own minions who were searchable with her first ability. Nissa was famously nerfed to just 2 starting loyalty, as Wizards R&D was afraid that taking her out of lightning bolt range would make her too difficult to stop once she got going. Zendikar remains a milestone set in Magic's vast history. Popular, powerful, and now very expensive, it was not seen as overpowered. That would change with the second set of Zendikar block in Worldwake. Join us next time as we go over the Worldwake set and a certain Planeswalker who changed everything.
I always like the fatties.